Call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As some of you may have noticed, Andrea's not here tonight, so talk slow and don't use any big words.
Thank you.
Take minutes.
I appreciate it.
Has anybody had a chance to look at the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
That was slow enough.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Consent agenda?
In the consent agenda would be the minutes from our last meeting, and then we have the receivables and payables. I was just going to point out a couple payables to you. There's a $70,000 check to Minnesota-Wisconsin Playground. You'll notice the new equipment out at the park there. That's for that. There's some money being spent for the new pumper for the fire department. There's a check written to Bob Sarda for his grandson's project out at the park. That's what I have. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public forum.
I'm David Pope. I live at 40335 East Elysian Lake Road. I own a rental house at 709 North East Street. This topic is emotionally charged for me, and my vision is poor, and so I've asked Reen Nimchek to read my words.
Sure.
I'm hoping that everyone can hear me. No, I'm just going to turn it this way. My name is Reen Nimchek. I have lived in Janesville for 50 years, most of my adult life. I live at 421 West Allen Street. I am reading the words that Dave Pope asked me to read to the council. To the City Council, thank you for your work in improving our streets and sidewalks, and for being public servants. It is sometimes not easy to know what the citizens want and what you want, and how to separate the two when you make hard decisions. Our city councils often change with each election, but one thing they seem to have in common is neglect of our public library. Most previous councils have been happy to have some of the work done by volunteers. It takes projects off their plate, and it saves the city money, which is laudable. Sometimes just having something called to their attention works, and other times they seem to accept free help. I am a member of Janesville Matters, but I do not speak for them, and they were unaware of some of my activities. I believe we all need to row the boat. We all have a job to do. In a city our size, volunteers must do their share. The point of this information has to do with the city-owned library. For decades, the library has needed attention. A few years ago, I heard from the Friends of the Library that the windows were in need of repair. Without any authority, I explained to Wasika Glass Company, and I asked them for an estimate. They got measurements and gave me an unofficial estimate of $2,500. I presented that estimate to Clinton Rogers, and he also had Wasika Glass give an estimate. It was the same, $2,500. The city fixed the windows under the council at that time. With the onset of COVID, Rotary didn't meet regularly, and I suggested a project of repairing and painting the storm windows at the library on ground level. Some windows simply fell apart. With others, the wood was so rotten that new windows needed to be made. The repairing required glazing of most of the windows, which I did, and painted all of them, and ended up replacing some by Wasika Glass to match the originals. The cost to the city was a can of paint and several new windows, which were beyond repair. It seems that each time a project is done, there have been changes in the city council. The picnic tables in the city park were in bad need of repair. The project started with requests in the Janesville Journal as a challenge to local groups to help paint and repair the tables. It was hoped it would be a fun contest. A few groups accepted the challenge. Tables were painted by or on behalf of the Girl Scouts, a 4-H club, Rotary, the Janesville Area Foundation, and Janesville Matters. Other groups had been asked to help. After the project started, we went to the city to get some funding, which you gave. We were able to get cedar lumber free to replace the tabletops and the benches. The newly painted tables have made a hit with the community and are very impressive to our visitors. Last summer, I scraped and painted the entrance to the library. The painted surface was dry and cracked and in bad need of repair. I had not asked for permission, and this was not done with Janesville Matters. One day, the former librarian said she could barely open the door. She had asked the city to help, but every day was a struggle. The door was binding on the cement, and it is a big, heavy door. I contacted a friend, and we bought and mounted a piece of steel to reinforce the door hinges. The door still rubs a bit, but it was a great improvement according to the librarian. A bill for the material was given to the city, and it was paid without complaint. Dr. Pope also continues, "Let me digress with some pertinent information about the National Registry of Historic Buildings. The status of a building on the National Registry of Historic Buildings seems to come up now and then when it is convenient. This is a statement taken directly from the website of Minnesota Department of Administration under the topic of National Registry Frequently Asked Questions, and I quote, "Listing does not interfere with an owner's right to alter or dispose of their property if they use their own money," end quote. And from the website of the National Park Service section on the National Registry, and I quote, "Under federal law, the listing of a property in the National Register places no restrictions on what a non-federal owner may do with their property up to and including destruction unless the property is involved in a project that receives federal assistance, usually funding or licensing permitting." And I may add my own comment. There is no plan to demolish our library. Janesville Matters had not been asked to support the step painting, as it was to be a surprise. Painting library steps with the names of books is not new. The colors on the steps are usually the color of the book or its jacket. There are hundreds of libraries all over the country that pay to have this done. Their issue is not about permission, but about which books get the honor of having its name on a step. I think it would be a big mistake to remove the painting from the steps. The real issue here is that we did not ask for permission. So if you need a pound of flesh, take it from me, in Dr. Pope's words. I have some to spare. I think that removing the painting could be seen as spiteful, and no one wants that. I am guilty. In my exuberance, I felt that our volunteer had a great gift to the city. I foolishly thought that no one would reject such a neat gift. The real issue is that neither Clinton nor the city council were asked for permission. Over a year ago, the library steps and the entryway were painted. The steps were done by a young man who loves this community, loves the library, and loves books, and wanted to surprise the city with the gift of his art on the library steps. The entrance was done by an old man. The young man wanted to do this anonymously, so he worked after business hours. Now, more than a year after the fact, his gift is being refused. Yes, he had not asked for permission, and that was my fault. So his gift is going to be discarded. I was a co-conspirator. I thought his gift was a wonderful idea and would be received in the spirit in which it had been given. Boy, was I wrong. I apologize for not asking for permission. It is really hard to give a surprise gift when you have permission. This was not an affront that was intended to bruise egos. It was a gift given out of love. If you remove this, quote, graffiti, unquote, then you probably need to remove all of the other painting that was mentioned. As Dr. Pope states, I think the city council meetings should start with a prayer. Maybe something like this. Dear God, thank you for this community. Thank you for the blessings of people willing to share the official work of the city. And thank you for those dear volunteers that work without reward because we love this city. Bless these proceedings. Give us wisdom, grace, mercy, and peace to do the business of this community. Amen. And yes, the Supreme Court said it is okay to have prayer at city council meetings. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Excuse me, I have a Janesville Foundation meeting to be at. They've been waiting.
No problem.
Thank you.
I have that Friends of the Library check tomorrow. It'll be available. Can you stop then, or you want me to call you?
I can stop you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
I would also like to be part of the public forum,
Okay,
if I may.
you may.
Thank you. I've introduced myself. I also have a few comments about Dr. Pope's letter. I was thrilled when Dr. Pope approached me about painting the library steps. With book titles, what could be more appropriate? I figured it was a way to brighten our library entrance and also to encourage young children to come into our library. I found it interesting that after a year of the steps being painted, not one person from either the city council or the police force came to the librarian or the Friends of the Library and asked us to remove the quote-unquote graffiti or vandalism that was painted on our steps. I believe that all of you, at some time or another, have either driven past or walked past the library. Not one thing was said. And it angers me that we had to have a stranger, a visitor, come to a city council member and find this terrible. Mr. Moss, are you understanding me?
I'm hearing you.
Okay. I want you to reconsider. As Dr. Pope said, none of us had planned on this being interpreted as vandalism. I also want to say a couple of other things. There are ceiling tile in the basement that are water damaged, that has been brought to the attention of Clinton Rogers and Jim Mulcahy. I personally took both of them down on a tour of the basement, and I was told that something was going to be done. That was several years ago. I believe that water-stained tiles are a much bigger issue than painted steps. And I could go on and on about things that need to be done in our library. And I'm looking at each one of you, and I would like you to respond. How many of you have been to our library in the past year?
I was.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The library is going to be open Thursday afternoon for trick-or-treat evening. It would be nice if some of you joined us there, and I would gladly give you a tour of our library. And I will personally take you down in the basement and show you what's going on down there. Any questions? All right, I have a question for you.
During public forum, we can't really answer questions.
Oh, that's fine.
You have to be on the agenda for that,
Thank you.
but we are here to listen.
All right, so I'm asking you, how many of you have a library card?
Right here.
Yes, I knew you did. Being a part of the Janesville Friends of the Library, I happen to have some library card applications. And I also have bookmarks that have our hours of the library and also some information on the website. So I'm going to pass these out. You can have that.
Thank you.
And I would invite all of you to come to your library, see what the library has to offer. There are many, many things that we have at the library that we would love to have you come and look at.
Is a library card for life?
You
Have to
have a
renew
library
it.
card for life, you have to renew it,
Okay.
but there's no charge.
Mine might have expired in 1990.
I was gonna say mine is expired.
And you know what, if they have expired, all you need to do is go in, talk to the librarian, they will take care of it.
You
I
got me
appreciate
worried.
your help, thank you very much.
Now we gotta get worried.
Now you better check yours, make sure it's.
Well, I just used it the other day.
Anyone else here to speak through public forum? Public forum? Moving on. Notice of communications.
Yes, in the notices and communications, we have the third quarter police department report. Sergeant Johnson is here to answer any questions you may have. I did promise Dave this morning, though, that I was going to tell the council that when Dave gave this to me last week, he very proudly said, "This is the last report I'm ever going to give you."
I didn't compare it back to the second quarter report, but his burglaries, like, way higher than they used to be at 28. It just caught my attention. I was gonna compare it back to the second quarter report.
I briefly reviewed it, I don't remember the exact numbers, but nothing when I reviewed either one of them stood out as a vast difference.
Has anybody got any questions for Steve?
How many calls of service did you have last quarter? Same?
I don't have that number in this
Oh.
report, I don't believe.
Well, maybe we can have the new chief include the previous quarters in there too for comparisons. It would be simpler. Not that we couldn't go back and look ourselves, I guess.
I don't see.
Any other questions for Steve?
I do not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Made that easy for you, Steve.
I'm sorry?
They made that easy for you.
You know.
Council reports? Double A? Anything?
Well, I didn't make it to that last, golf course, but I'm assuming Scott and Jacob are gonna
Yep.
touch on that.
Yeah.
Doing their, department head part of it.
Okay.
I just had Prairie, or
Park Road?
Park Road, and, there's nothing new down there. We're still working out some things, but we're looking forward to our newest employee helping us through some of the questions we have as far as communicating with HUD and,
He's got some experience in that, so.
yeah. Apparently our staff knows you and, they're excited to see you in town.
See, I wasn't lying this morning when I told you that.
I do have some HUD experience working with the HRA for the community that I used to live in. So I do have some experience with that, yes. I would certainly try to help the HRA staff in any way that I can. Thank you.
For anybody here that doesn't know, this is Randy Thompson. He is our new Community Development Director here in Janesville. I think Clinton was gonna mention it in his report, but
Yep.
we got to him ahead of time, so.
All right.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I appreciate it. Thank you to all the council members in there. Thank you.
Did you bring something back?
If I may?
Yes.
I just went and reviewed it again. And we are down, 120 calls this quarter. Our last quarter had nowhere near the amount of burglaries, but we had more crim damages. We're kinda high on the burglaries, and I think everybody's familiar with that. But as far as the overall arrests, it's exactly the same, it's 32.
Okay.
So, just figured I'd answer that quick, because I had that readily available, so.
Appreciate that,
You
Steve.
bet, you bet. Thanks.
Thanks.
Sarah, you got anything?
The nursing home made 13,000 last month, and we have changed our meeting dates to the third Thursday of every month. At
4:30?
four.
At 4?
4:30, shoot, let me look, now I forgot.
It used to be at 4:30.
4 o'clock. And that's all I got.
Administrator report.
attached is the cash balance report dated last Friday, October 20th. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Randy Thompson, new City of Janesville employee, but the mayor beat me to it. He's coming back tomorrow.
Well, that's good.
That's good, we think.
That's my plan, yeah.
Good.
Personnel committee, I would like to meet maybe next week if we could. If we can try to name a time and date tonight, that'd be great. Safe roads to school, the bids came in, the county board accepted the bids. The lowest bid was Nielsen Concrete. They were about 9% less than what the engineer's estimate was. So that means that, you know, the grant itself cost less, which means the school portion and the city portion for the local match will be 9% less. So when I get all the paperwork sent back from the state or wherever it's coming from, I'll get in touch with Jeremy at the school and we'll get that all lined up. We plan to have our township fire board meeting, next city council meeting on November 13th. We usually do that at 7 p.m. right at the beginning of the meeting. And speaking of that night, November 13th, I would like to schedule my performance review. I will have all my bags packed before the meeting, just in case.
Ivan.
Full tank of gas. This is Ivan's big moment. That's all I had. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm surprised those bids came in that, that low under
Yeah.
the, I wonder if that's because it's end of the year type of,
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's pretty cool.
I was quite surprised by that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got next week, Nicolay?
I should be pretty flexible.
We'll throw a day out, Clinton, and we'll see if we can make it.
Monday.
Monday at 3:45?
That's the 30th?
Yes.
Yes, that should work.
Okay. There you go.
Just a minute. Should work.
3:45 work for you, double that?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll just be getting off call at 3:30, so I won't be running late for any reason there.
Sure. All right, Monday, 3:45.
Motion to approve.
There it is.
We've been waiting
Well,
for it.
I was in the process of putting that.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
We have Scott and Jacob here from the golf course. Come on up and tell us all about it.
Do you want to do that, or should we, when we're doing?
You want to skip it and go put it in with the budget, or do you want to put the budget in now? So we don't have to get them up twice?
I think that's probably okay.
Okay. Jump up here.
Sure.
You can give us your, department head update, and then we'll just jump into the budget real quick.
Okay.
We can skip around, ain't no big deal.
As you know, it's winding down at the golf course, but, you know, looking at our numbers for the year, our revenue was the best year we've ever had. Our total members was the highest we've ever had. Our men's club numbers were the biggest we've ever had, so a lot of good things going on out there right now. Is there anything in particular anybody has a question on? And we'll be going over kind of some of the budget
Yeah.
stuff tonight. You know, we can look at line items and stuff there if anybody has questions on anything, or just basic questions in general.
I'm not sure where it fits in, but, we've got a donation coming from JAGA, for a fence of some kind.
Sure.
Explain to me what that is and what the need is for, or why it's needed.
Okay, so if you're playing the south course on hole number 8, that hole's a little bit of a downhill approach shot. So, when people would hit their approach shots, they really wouldn't take into consideration that the fact that the hole kind of goes down, and then they would hit the ball, land in the green, and then would kind of shoot over into the cornfield. So, JAGA made a recommendation to build a little wall back there to kind of help those golf balls from going into the cornfield, speed up play, and just kind of help out, So we built a wall, it's about, it's maybe this high, it's 140 feet, kind of behind. Also, it does the same thing when you're playing the north course in hole number 1, but it doesn't really come into play as much there because that's kind of uphill and it's not, hasn't been as big a problem on that particular hole. But yeah, just the general idea was to help those golf balls from going over the green into that field. And it looks really nice, got a lot of comments on it, turned out really nice.
Any other non-budget questions for Scott?
I do not.
Let's roll right into the budget, Scott.
All right, you want me to stay up here, you want me to grab a chair?
You're good right there.
Okay.
Get to it here. There we go.
Well, then you're into the mic and it records better.
Sure.
Try to make it bigger. All right, so the revenue, that's the first page we have on. Like I mentioned in the memo here, each year Scott and Jacob do a really good job with this, but when we're looking at the revenues, they try to be as conservative, as they can be. I mean, they make it realistic. And having said that, just because we have more members and there's more rounds being played and there's more during league and all that stuff, we just have more revenues this year. An increase in the revenue, I should say. When you have a full league, and everybody's renting carts, for example, if they don't have their own, that rental cart income is gonna go up. You see it did there.
Any particular line item I can help anybody out with, or explain why we did something, or?
Django also made the donation of sand for refreshing some of the sand traps.
Correct.
Is that what shows up there as other?
Yep. Right here, right?
Yes.
Yep, that's where that came from. Yep.
You got it as contributions or as, because there's two different lines there,
I'm pretty sure that went into other.
other.
Yep.
Any questions on the revenue side? Okay. And what are the expenses?
We have Jacob here tonight. The grounds budget would be the second page of the
The second page of first page of the expenditures.
I guess I don't really see anything to.
Any questions for me?
You do have some options tonight in your packet referring to the rough mower.
Yeah.
We're looking probably in a perfect world to get that ordered January or February.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about that tonight? Should we talk about that after the holidays? What are you thinking? And then I was going to ask Jacob, should we, contact these folks, the sooner the better?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a rush, but I would say before the new year, I don't want at some point, all the prices will change, with the state contract, and I don't have that exact date. I don't think they know always the exact date, but,
Okay.
we could at least order it, we don't necessarily need to purchase it right away, but get it locked in anyways.
Mhm.
That price shouldn't change. So, yeah, the sooner, this year, hopefully we'll make a decision, so.
And this mower is coming through the capital outlay?
Yes.
Which of these mowers seem to be the most logical choice?
In my opinion, it's that 144-inch, Z-Master. It's a zero-turn mower.
Yep.
Just a little bit, less expensive of a unit, compared to what we have now. Yeah, it just makes sense. It's 12 feet wide. We can cut a bunch of grass quickly, and it seems to be, a balance between price and productivity, and that's what makes sense in my opinion, so.
And do you have anything to add from the golf advisory last week?
That's exactly, I'm not on the golf board, but I was at the meeting, and that is the way the golf advisory board felt, is more or less the same way that I feel as the mayor. Jacob is the one using this, and he's done his work into looking at what they need, and I'm not here to argue with him about that. I'm happy it goes into the capital outlay at basically the same cost as we always have in it for that, so. So I guess at this point, my decision would be to go with that 144-inch zero-turn that Jacob's interested in.
I agree with that. And I do think locking that price in is in our best interest. 'Cause
Yeah, if we're gonna do it.
It's only gonna, I mean, it's for sure gonna go up. It's just the way it is.
Well, I like to give the employees a piece of equipment that they know that they're gonna be happy with, instead of us picking something out.
Yeah.
Right.
We did have this mower come in, for a demo, and we had it 2 days, which is great, and ran it 2 days straight, and, it looks like it'll work perfectly for us. I think it's a good solution. So-
You had this one?
That specific mower, yeah, they let us demo it for 2
Gotcha.
days, so.
Nice.
We've had it on the property and tested it out, so feel good about it.
Good. Anything else on Jacob's expenses?
How do you want us to do this more? Should we order it? Do you want them to send us the lease paperwork we can put on the next agenda?
I would say so.
Okay.
We need a motion and approval.
Yeah, why not?
I motion that we move forward with the Toro Z Master 7500 series.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0.
Okay, the next page in the budget would be the clubhouse budget. Get that on the screen here. Find it. Any questions for Scott?
I'm gonna bring up the telephone and TV again, 'cause is there any way we can not pay it when the clubhouse is not being used in the wintertime?
That's a good question. It's, are we kind of all glommed together, Clint, with that, where we're kind of all together, or could we look into,
Well,
you know what I mean?
it's like a monthly subscription.
Right, but is there any way $3,600 for a year of TV out there, it seems a little bit ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it's TV, telephone, internet, everything. Is internet in that?
I don't know, 'cause telephone's on the other page too.
The shop does have telephone, and then the clubhouse has a telephone.
Yep, and that's part of the phone system that we leased with Bevcom, so there's monthly.
Yeah.
Right.
That's for the phone.
Yeah, they're probably not gonna let us shut down a portion of that.
Right.
But it is something we can ask on.
I mean, I just thought, I mean,
Yeah,
if
it
it's
does.
not being used, why do you have to pay for it, kind of thing? If they can maybe work out some sort of a deal that you can pay it 6 months at a time instead of 12 months.
Yeah, we can definitely look into that.
That's just my 2 cents.
2 cents or 72,000.
What's with the huge jump in liquor liability?
Well, the liquor insurance increased last year for us. So that's one of those insurance expenses that we just kind of increase until we find out around Thanksgiving what the insurance is actually gonna be.
Okay.
So that's one of those line items that, you know, we can more than likely fix a little.
Okay, that's still an estimated
Yep,
one?
yep.
Okay. Although year-to-date, we are at $4,000
Yeah,
from 2,800 last year.
yeah, so it went up.
That's, yeah.
Is that paid monthly or quarterly?
That's annual. The liquor license?
Liquor liability is annual.
It's, yep,
So
once
that
a year.
shouldn't change then the rest of the year.
Right, correct.
I have no other questions. Anybody else?
I do not.
All right, well, thank you, Scott, thank you,
Good luck.
Jacob, for working with us on this.
Glad to help.
Okay. Old business number 1, an update on 109 North Main. I talked to Mark about 5 o'clock today. He is planning on being there on Wednesday.
Tear it down.
Yep. All the asbestos, that stuff's all was done last week before maybe. So, his waiting period's up, everything's good.
Okay.
So, he expects to be there Wednesday.
Sounds good.
Okay. We are gonna go to new business number 2, since we did number 1 already, which is liquor license for the Purple Goose Smokehouse and Saloon.
Yes, the Purple Goose Smokehouse and Saloon owners are here. Judy is here as well. Steve is not here. Steve Johnson, Sergeant Johnson did the background check for the liquor license, and this is his memo to the city council, recommending that you approve the liquor license. And what we do then is we will send everything, you know, to the state, and the state will get things back to us and stuff. So once that's all done, we should be good to go. Thank you for your patience.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome.
Thank you and welcome to town.
Thank you,
Good luck.
thank you.
Judy, good riddance?
No, not next week. That's next week, are you gonna have
She's not leaving quite yet.
It's gonna stay the Purple Goose. Okay, you still have your, website?
The website? Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thanks.
Judy's been great helping us.
Are we still having chicken on Wednesday?
We're still having chicken on
How about
Wednesday.
Friday, we're gonna try it?
Wow, you guys had more questions asked than half the agenda tonight.
Do you have trailer parking out front?
Thank you.
We will be putting the smokers in
Yep.
eventually.
That'd be
Give
great.
us some time.
Yep.
Thank you,
We're getting
guys.
our feet wet here, so.
Yep, thanks.
But we will change the menu.
Judy
a
had
little
trailer
bit.
parking just for one day, though.
Very
Yeah.
good.
But for
One
now,
night.
we're keeping the chicken.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The liability coverage waiver.
Yes, I am right now working on the renewal for our League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust. There's 2 sheets of paper that the city council needs to approve every year. One of them is that we are waiving the boiler and machinery coverage at the power plant. We have a boiler there. And then the other one is that we are choosing not to waive tort limits with statutory requirement. But basically, if we approve this in a civil manner, a person cannot recover more than $500,000 in criminal, or in civil law. That's what we do each year. It's just kind of a formality, I guess. So that's what that is tonight.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
New business number 4, accept the donation to Prairie Ridge from.
Yes. Scott was talking about that fencing, the fence that was put up, the retaining wall, I should say. Janesville Area Golf Association has donated $2,125.16 for the cost of materials for that wall. So this resolution accepts that.
Motion to approve resolution 2023-24.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve, or motion to adjourn?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.